Welcome back to the Chicago Tomahawk. I'm Mike, got my linemate Matt with me, and today we're going to go over the debate between Seth Jones and Dougie Hamilton. We're going to talk about Shea Weber's laundry list of injuries. We are also going to talk. What else do you want to talk about, Matt? The wingers. We're going to talk about Blackhawks wingers, sure. and then we'll take it from there. So there isn't that much Blackhawk news really in the water right now, except for really Seth Jones. That's the big thing, and obviously Dougie Hamilton. He is a free agent, and from what I've heard is that Carolina isn't big on re-signing him. So it's looking like he's not going to end up there, and looks like a lot of people want the Hawks to go after Dougie Hamilton, and there's a lot of people who want Seth Jones. Now I think that there are two different types of players. Dougie Hamilton is considered a two-way player. I've always looked at him as purely just an offensive defenseman, and Seth Jones has more defensive upside, which we both agree. That's what the Blackhawks need right now. What is your take on, as of right now, before we even get into coaching, because I want to talk about coaching after this, but I want to know, what do you think is a better fit for the Hawks between these two players?
I've said it for months. I think Jones, because he's younger. We acquire him. We get a year of $5 million cap hit, and then he's obviously going to get a raise. But yeah, I could see him making about, what do you think, 8 to 9? Yeah, and that's fair.
Minimum.
I mean, he's not going to get paid more than Kane and Taves. I mean, at least I wouldn't pay him that much. But he has 580 games played, and he's only 26 years old. I mean, so he's actually played a lot of games as a defenseman. He's had two really good coaches he's played for, Tortorella and Barry Trotz, and I guarantee you they will rave about him. I mean, his plus minus, he's minus 25, but I mean, I think Nashville had a couple bad years when he started, and Columbus, they were solid for a while, but they were bad last year. I mean, they weren't always good either, but I think that if we did acquire him, he would instantly make us a better defensive team, which is what we need right now. Dougie Hamilton on the other side, I think he'll put our offensive numbers up, which is a good thing, but like you and I both said, we need to prevent goals, and I think Jones would help more with that.
Yeah, I agree. We had games last year when we scored 4 or 5 goals and lost, and to be honest with you, man, I think that's absolutely inexcusable to lose a game after scoring 5 goals. If we have somebody like Dougie Hamilton, I think that we would probably put up those kind of numbers on a more regular basis. But at the same time, we could possibly be losing games while putting up those kind of numbers on a daily basis. And obviously, your offensive success isn't always going to sustain you. As we saw in the playoffs this past year, solid defensive teams went very, very far into through the tournament, through the Stanley Cup Finals, namely the Islanders and Montreal.
Yep.
And you know what? That Islanders Tampa Bay series, man, was a really good one. It kind of reminded you of the Hawks versus the Kings in 2014, when it was kind of just a flip of the coin. One of these teams, whoever wins the series, is going to win the Stanley Cup final. And I honestly think that the Islanders would have ran over Montreal, maybe not as bad as the Lightning did, but I think that they would have ran over them as well. Anyways, so let's talk about the coaching on the Blackhawks, which I think is the biggest detriment to the players on the team, because it seems like there is no defensive system for the Hawks right now, man. It's like guys are just everywhere. There's always odd man breaks. What do you think needs to change? Is it a Colliton thing, or is somebody else responsible for the defensive play of the team?
Well, I think it's a Bowman and Colliton thing.
Okay.
Like you said, he he puts the players out on the ice. That's the coach's job. That's the best he's got. He's got to do the best he can with what he's got. Bowman provides him with the product, and but you know what? I think that it's too much wannabe 2010 Hawks run and gun. But
right
when you have pretty much 4 solid lines that could score, you could get away with doing that. We have one right now. It's Kaner and DeBrincat and whoever he feels like putting in between them.
Right.
But you know what? I do see a lot of young guys looking to, they could break out like Brandon Hagel and we're hoping Kirby Doc, so that, maybe we could play like that in a couple of years. But right now we got to play Islander hockey if we want to be successful.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. So do you think that, especially with everything that's going on with Bowman these days, do you think that he'll even be back next season?
Well, it's kind of hard to say. We haven't heard much about, the bad stuff going on. But I mean, if they finish like bad, like, which we could easily finish last in the Central with Phoenix, I'm thinking they might say, hey, it's time for a change. And the new GM coming in, he might want a new coach. He's like, hey, I got my guy. I'm going to build the team my way. So he could go. Yeah.
Wow. You would think that, as of last year being named president and everything, that they were giving him a pretty long leash, but I mean, anything's possible, especially with the allegations that have popped up. Personally, I mean, I would like Jones. I just don't want to give the farm for him. I don't want to give every piece that we have to get him here, because that essentially that kind of puts us back to where we were. Now we need young forwards that are ready to play and can score.
You fill in a hole, but dig another one. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think another big hole that needs to be plugged up is the center position, because looks like Taser's coming back, which is great, but the last season he played, he was practically the only guy who could win a faceoff at one point. Last year, David Kampf really stepped up and improved his game at the dot, because last year he was the only guy who could win a faceoff.
He had to go out in overtime to win us a faceoff.
Right,
possession. Right. That's what overtime's all about: getting that first faceoff and holding the puck. Yeah.
And so now we could say we have 2 guys who could win faceoffs. Honestly, man, I'd like to have 2 more guys who could win faceoffs, because taking some of that responsibility off of Taves, especially as he's getting older, I think would really help prolong his career a bit. Not playing those long defensive penalty kill type situations, depending on what type of player do we want from him. Do we want him to just be a shutdown center? I think that's something he could do later on in his career when he gets older, just worrying about shutting down other teams. But I think he still has some untapped potential offensive upside that he could still contribute as a number 1 center. Personally, I want to see what's going on with Tyler Johnson in Tampa. Is he going to get re-signed? I think that he could really fit in on the Blackhawks, man, as the type of player, type of center that we need. What do you think?
Yeah, I remember when they put him on waivers. No one claimed him, and I was upset about it. I'm like, hey,
insane.
We got 2 guys that are down right now, and we have cap space. Pick them up. Pay the half. Who cares?
Right.
$3 million a year, or even 6. It's worth it. And we didn't do it.
At one point, you're willing to give. You're in an emergency and in a real hot spot because you don't have a center, so you're forced to sign Dylan Strome to a 2-year deal, and you won't claim Tyler Johnson off of waivers. That's insane.
It's insane. Tyler Johnson was on the 4th line in Tampa, and he was producing. Him and Patrick Maroon, and he was setting up goals, scoring goals.
Winning faceoffs.
He's a little guy. You know what? He's a little guy. He's fast. He's smart. And he's like, I think he'd fit good with Kaner and DeBrincat. Yeah. I think if you stuck him in there, and I could see magic happening. But who knows? He won't be safe. He could be traded or claimed by Seattle, but Tampa's got to whole bunch of home. They got a lot of work to do before Saturday. They got, I mean, if you think about it, they got to protect. You got to protect Ryan McDonough, right? You got to protect. You got to protect Hedman. You got to protect Stamkos, Point, Kucherov. Look at the depth that. Look at all the guys that are available for them. That Ron Francis is. He's going to have a good player coming out, and he's lucky, man. That Tampa team alone is going to get him a really, really, really good player.
So, question for you.
Yeah.
You have two players. Who do you protect, Point or Stamkos?
Point.
I would too.
Yeah.
100%.
The only, I like Stamkos. Good captain. You know, he's going to be a legend for Tampa. You got him 2 cups, and
I'd say one.
well,
he showed up for one game last year, but I would say
scored.
that he did,
Yeah.
but I would definitely say he played a really big hand in this one.
He's a huge locker room guy. They love him there.
Yeah.
But my strategy, if I were the GM of Tampa, I wouldn't protect Stamkos. With the history of his injuries, his cap hit, his age.
Yeah.
Go ahead, take him. I dare you.
Yeah.
And then I'd protect somebody else, like a depth player, like a Palat or a Killhorn, somebody like that, and kind of dare him to take him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it would be devastating for the team as like your captain's gone, but I mean, he's good, but you need the guys, the third and fourth line guys. That's why Tampa won back-to-back cups. Their bottom 6 could be a top 6 on other teams. That's how good they are.
Yeah, definitely. And you just never know what you're going to get with Stamkos. Is he going to get hurt, you know, with his injury, with his history with injuries?
He's a great player, but
he reminds me of Pavel Bure.
Or Marty Haflat. They're dynamic, and I think Stamkos is obviously a better shooter than Havlat was, but like they're both exciting. They're fast, good shot, smart. But I can't wait. I know the lists are due Saturday for the expansion draft, so we're going to get a better. That'll be some Hawk news for us next time.
Yeah,
who's
definitely.
Protected and who's not safe. That's going to be cool.
So, did you hear anything about Shea Weber? He is. There's a possibility that, from what I've heard, he's not going to be protected. He's got foot, ankle, knee, and thumb injuries right now. Looks like there's going to be. The Players Association is going to have words with Montreal because of how injured he is and everything. Have you heard anything about that yet?
I heard that he was really hurt, and I heard there's a possibility of retirement.
Right.
I did not hear what you just said, but I will tell you this. No one is going to stop Shea Weber from competing in the Stanley Cup final when he's only been there maybe, one time?
Yeah.
Before this, or was this the first time?
This is the first time.
He could have went out with a broken leg, a broken neck. I guarantee you he would have been out there. That's just the type of player he is. He's a freaking warrior. So, I mean, for the NHL, I mean, they got to protect their guys and stuff, but I guarantee you Weber's like, no, you could tie me to a wall. I'm going to break that wall and go right through it and get on the ice and compete because he's a warrior, man.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, if he's so broken, you know, it's terrible to see, especially for such a character guy like that, you know. And then Montreal is just not gonna. It's essentially not putting any value on him. I mean, he still, his contract is what, $7 million for like another 7 years or something like that.
Yeah, that's from Philadelphia, didn't
right.
they?
That's
that offer sheet. Yeah,
yeah.
Really getting involved with everything.
Yeah, they do, man. And the Rangers, they're always tied to, you know, whenever there's a free agent or something.
Seth Jones, Philadelphia. Seth Jones. Why?
Yeah.
I heard those rumors like, what do you got to give? Or like, why would he want to go to that train wreck?
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. Anyways, so Ryan Suter, another big news from this week, Ryan Suter and Zach Parise or Parise, I guess, depending on how you say it, you know, were bought out of their contracts in Minnesota. These are all still big contracts that were signed right before the last, what was it, the meeting, the players meeting or collective bargaining agreement.
So they ended those long-term weird like cap hit at the end deals.
$1 million for like 5 years, and you get $10 million for the first 5 years.
Yeah.
So they were bought out. Parise, he's upset that he was bought out. I don't understand why, because
I think Suter was too. Honestly, he was surprised, and I was too with Suter.
Oh, I think everybody was. I think everybody was surprised because, I mean, let's face it, man. They were probably expecting to spend the rest of their time there. You know, maybe that's what they had worked out with the other, the prior, coaching staff, and when they signed their contracts and everything, they thought that's what was going to happen. But Minnesota is trying to move on from, this Ryan Suter, Zach Parise time too as well.
Yeah, Bill Guerin is the new GM, and he wants to put a mark on his team. And those weren't his guys. I don't blame him one bit for doing this. If he's got 2 buyouts, I probably would have done the same thing. But, I mean, Ryan Suter is still a good defenseman. There's going to be a lot of teams calling for him.
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot today on NHL Network that Edmonton, of all teams, is really high on him to play with Duncan Keith. I heard that quite a bit today. And
that'd be a hell of a second line pairing.
He could fit in on any team, honestly. I bet you 32 teams would want him.
Yeah.
And he could play big minutes. He's smart. You don't hear about him much because he's doing his job. That's his job.
Right.
Parise, if he didn't see this coming, then he is pretty stupid because he was scratched. He doesn't produce. He's been overrated since he left New Jersey.
The Devils.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know what he expects. He had one good season he had one good season with the Wild for what they were paying him.
Right.
And that's the year he ran into the Hawks the first round and we blew them away.
Right.
So, I heard he's going to the Islanders to reunite with Lou.
And Travis Zajac.
Enjoy. He's not going to do... his numbers are going to be worse because they're a defensive-minded team. So I don't know what they're doing with that.
He plays a good two-way game. I mean, he plays a good defensive game, I should say.
He's not going to put up points, though.
Right.
If you're going to spend money on a guy, Tarasenko is your guy. He's your game breaker. And his name has been linked to that team. And I think if I'm Lou, we're right there. We're one game away from the final. We need a game breaker. That's the guy I'm going after to play with Barzal. Yes.
Yeah, that'd be a good pit.
He's the best name available right now. That wants to get traded, at least. Free agency, I don't know. Taylor Hall? No, thank you.
No.
No.
As of recent news on him, they're saying that Boston, that they're nearing a deal.
Yeah, good. Good for Boston. He was good the first round. I mean, me and you were both kind of saying, hey, maybe this is going to work out for him in Boston. But second round, he got one open net goal, and that was it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's your preview. So, I hope they don't overpay him.
Right. And moving on to Colorado, we've got the Gabriel Landeskog. Their reports are saying that they are very far apart on a deal between the two sides, and this could just be, Colorado trying to, just trying to negotiate with Landeskog. But I'm curious to what Landeskog is asking for. What would you pay? What would you pay Landeskog?
7.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
7. No higher, because you got McKinnon that's going to be getting paid soon. No one's getting paid more than McKinnon.
Well, McKinnon's talking about continuing to take a deal for $6.8 million. Here's a question for you. McKinnon decides to take a deal, and you're Makar. You're like, I don't want to take a team-friendly deal. I want to get paid. What happens in that locker room?
I don't know.
Because then you're going to have a pissed off McKinnon who's like, well, I thought if I did this, everybody else was going to do it, but that doesn't seem the case. And now I'm stuck for another 6 years in this deal at 6.5, and I should be getting 12.
Yeah, I think McKinnon's just saying that now, but I think if I'm McKinnon and my contract's up, I'm looking at Austin Matthews' contract. I'm looking, hey, that guy's getting that. I'm just as good as him. I'm not going to pay anyone more than him, though. For Landeskog, dude, I mean, you've been the captain. You've started early. You've played a lot of games. But, I mean, you're getting older. So, and we got to pay our young guys, and you want to be good, this is what you got to take. I personally like the guy. I think he would fit in on a team like St. Louis or Boston, the way they play. Maybe even the Islanders. But no, I'm not paying him more than $7 million a year. I know. I think he's at 4 or 5 right now. I mean, right. You got to give him a little bit of a raise. He's not a bad player, and he's been there. He's put his time in, but it's up to Sakic, man. He's got to, if he wants to keep his team together and be, competitive, he's got to manage this right. He's lucky McKinnon is a stud and wants to win. That's lucky. Yeah. Very lucky. You got Kaprizov in Minnesota. He's already asking for 10. Yeah. So, and this guy's put in time and been in playoff series more than one.
McKinnon's practically been in the league for almost 8 to 10 years already. And Kaprizov has been in the league for 1 year? Turned down an what was it, an 8-year $9 million, an 8-year deal, annual value of $9 million.
I'd be okay with that. Well, if I'm Guerin,
he doesn't want it though. That's the problem. He was offered that, and
I didn't know that.
I think it just came out yesterday. He was offered that.
Want 10?
No, yeah, he wants $10 million at 4 to 5 year term. He wants a shorter term, more money.
That's just insane, dude. That they need to come up with something like your second contract cannot exceed a certain number in a certain amount of years. It's insane.
Like it shouldn't triple what your, if your first contract's $9 million, I mean 4 to 5. I mean, Kaner and Taves got 6. Yeah,
6 years.
They got 6 years or 5 years at $6 million deal. And
$30 million.
Yeah, that was a good deal.
Very good deal.
Yeah, and Kaprizov wants double that. And they haven't done anything. And what was his numbers in their playoff series?
I'm not sure. I think he scored a couple goals, but I mean, it's
if he put up if he put up 12 points in one series, it's like, all right, well, hey man, this dude's scoring points by the bucket load. He needs to get paid.
Yeah. Well, there's no doubt he's going to be a good player. I mean, but he's got to see this. Hey man, I just played 1 year. Let's see let's sign a short-term deal, $2 million, or not $2 million, 2 years for, give me 7, give me 8. Let's prove it. Then you're going to pay me big bucks. What I want. I would do it. I think Guerin's insane. Actually, that might be brilliant. $9 million for 8 years.
Yeah.
That's cheap. That's going to be cheap in a couple of years. I mean, if you think about it, that's cheap. And he's probably saying,
Kaprizov's thinking the same thing.
Yeah. He doesn't want to commit to that probably, and he's probably thinking, oh, awesome, Matt, look at these guys. We're making 13, 12, 11. I should be getting that. But it's these agents, man. They're crazy. They're trying to get as much as they can. That's all it is.
Right. It's really interesting, man. This off season has, to be honest with you, has not disappointed, and the off season's like
fun.
Been like a week so far. With a lot of storylines. Keith Yandel was bought out. Who else? There's been some other minor news. Other than that, nothing really too big. We're definitely going to see what's going on with this Seth Jones thing, because there's, obviously the rumor mill is going crazy. They're saying, I think it's Jimmy or Kevin Hayes is saying that Jones is going to be with the Blackhawks in 2 weeks or something like that.
Same with Shane O'Brien.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's really exciting, really cool. Can't wait to see how this turns out. And that's pretty much all that I got, man. What about you?
Well, it's going back to the Yandel buyout. You know what? He's not a bad player. He's 34 years old. He's got 1,000 games. He was a big part of that Phoenix club for years back, and I think he was traded to Boston for a year, and then he went to New York. It didn't work out there. He ended up going to Florida. I thought he was solid. Somebody's going to pick him up, and they're going to probably be happy with him.
Yeah.
And as far as the Jones stuff, I'm hoping too, man. A lot of people are saying it's the Hawks and Colorado, believe it or not, are in on Jones. I'm hearing Colorado now. I know, and that's scary because they have young guys to give up.
Yeah, they do.
You got Byram. I don't think I would do that, though. After watching the World Juniors, that kid was a stud.
Yeah.
And a 4th overall pick, I don't know, man. I would be patient if I was Sakic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, it's crazy. I just hate hearing. I want Jones, but at the same time, it's like I don't want to give up everything for him. Or at least what Columbus is asking for.
Well, that's that. What's his name? Elliott Friedman. He's assuming that DeBrincat is, and that's just insane. Was top 10 in goals this year.
Right.
There's no way his name is in there. That's no way. Doc, I don't know, man. I don't think so. I think if Jarmo is going to be asking for all this, they're never going to get rid of him. He's just got to take the best deal he can get because no matter what, he's going to lose the trade.
Yeah, because he's just
a player. Walk. Yeah, he's going to walk for free, or they trade him at the deadline for a pick and a prospect.
Right.
Now, I'm sure he's looking at the Hawks roster and being like, hey, you got a couple good young guys. You got the Khrushchev over there. You got Pia Suter. You got Bovquist. You got Dylan Strome, they need a center. They lost a couple of them. We got some guys that we can give up. We got Reichel, who they might say could be included in that trade, but I'd be okay with that. You got to give a little bit to get somebody good like that. That's just there's no way around it.
I don't know what Reichel's going to be. Is he going to be another Toivo Teravainen? Teravainen's good, but he's not fantastic.
No. Bowman doesn't have a good history of first round picks. He doesn't. Doc is so far he's still here. But I mean, we got rid of what's his name, Yokiharu. Boquist might be next. Remember McNeil? We had him. Cam Barker.
McNeil just didn't work out, man. And Cam Barker, the same thing.
Yeah, just Jack Skilly. Just guys that we've picked. They just never produced like they were hyped to be. With Kane and Taves it's a rare thing that we got back-to-back guys to do that. Very rare. Yeah.
Well, they were top 3 picks each of them, though, at the same time.
Yeah, Kaner was 1, and I think Taves was 3.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. Everybody, check us out at FHN. We just released our latest article today, which would be, by the time you listen to this, it'll be yesterday for you. It was about, kind of our tribute to Duncan Keith. Keith, we wanted to write an article about, Matt wrote the article about his experience of losing a big player, and it's tough, losing a fan favorite player like that. But go ahead and check that out. Give us a comment on there. Let us know what you guys think of the article. And we love talking to you on Twitter. It's been a lot of fun. We've been getting more engaged with Twitter and talking with people. And I believe I'm going to start doing Twitter Live. I tried doing it last week, and it was, kind of weird. But I'm going to try and do another live this Wednesday, probably at 9 p.m. And just jump on, try and talk some hockey with us. And but that's all that we got for you guys tonight. You guys take it easy. This is the TomaHawk.